CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? A dark web doctor offered to cure my nightmares. Now I can't sleep without someone cutting me open. Alright, so this is gonna sound insane, and I already know half of you are gonna call BS, but I'm gonna tell it anyway, because I seriously need to get this out there. This actually happened to me. I'm not looking for karma or whatever. I'm just hoping that someone else out there has seen something similar. Maybe you've been where I've been. Maybe you've seen the ad too. So yeah, let me take it back to about 9 months ago. It started with the nightmares. At first, I thought they were just stress dreams. I was working a remote tech support gig, really boring stuff, but the hours were crazy and the sleep schedule was wrecked. I'd crash at 4 a.m., wake up at noon, and still feel like I hadn't slept. But the dreams, man, they weren't just dreams. They felt real. Like, too real. Every night, it was the same vibe. I'd be in this sterile white room, like a hospital room, but without any equipment, no bed, just tile floors and blinding fluorescent lights overhead. And I could never move. My arms were stuck. My legs felt numb. I could feel something watching me. Not just watching, hovering, breathing, close enough that I could hear it drag something across the tile. Then, slicing. Always the slicing. But here's the kicker. Every time I woke up, I'd find scratches on my skin. Thin, red, and fresh. Sometimes across my chest. Sometimes my arms. I tried everything. Sleep studies, therapy, melatonin, even those weird weighted blankets people swear by on TikTok. Nothing helped. And that's when I got desperate. One night, I was doom scrolling on this super shady subreddit that had already been banned like 3 times. Something like RR Sleep Beyond or RR No Eyes at Night or something. It was filled with people claiming they couldn't sleep because of entities or mirror people. Just weird creepypasta stuff. I was about to click out when I saw a comment buried deep in a thread titled, "If it's following you into your dreams, the doctor can help. But don't ever meet him awake." Weird, right? I clicked the username, but the account was deleted. The comment had a link, not a .com, not a .org, a string of jumbled characters, classic dark web URL, Tor browser only. Now, here's the thing. I'm not some deep web hacker. I just knew a guy in college who showed me how to access that side of the net once. It freaked me out, but this time I didn't care. I just wanted sleep. Real sleep. I downloaded Tor again, followed the link, and it led me to this old school looking site with black text on a gray background. No images, just a message. "You've been touched by the deep sleep syndrome. We can offer relief. Schedule a session. First dream is free." Below that, there was a single button. Begin. Now, I know I should have noped out of there, but at this point, I was sleeping maybe 3 hours a night, and most of that was just pain and fear. I clicked. The screen glitched for a second, literally glitched, like a VHS skip. Then my webcam light turned on. I panicked, slammed the laptop shut, but it was too late. I got a notification, not on my computer, on my phone. The message said, "You're scheduled for your first session. Sleep tight, Logan." Yeah, it knew my name. No app, no number, just a black screen with white text. It looked like iMessage, but wasn't. It just disappeared after 10 seconds. That night, I didn't dream of the White Room. I dreamed of a hospital, an actual hospital, one I'd never seen before. Dingy yellow lights, rusted metal cabinets, dirty sheets on the bed, and a figure. Not a monster, not some demon, just a guy in a plague doctor mask. You know, with a long beak and old-timey black robe. He stood at the foot of my bed, silently, holding a scalpel. He leaned forward and whispered something I'll never forget. "Now that you've let me in, I can cut the nightmares out." And I woke up. Cold sweat. No scratches this time. No pain. In fact, it was the best sleep I'd had in months. But that was only the beginning. Over the next few nights, I kept sleeping better. No nightmares. I felt normal again, until about 2 weeks in. That's when I started waking up in weird places. Like one night, I woke up on the floor of my living room. Another night, I was standing in the bathtub, fully clothed, water running. Once, I found myself on my porch at 3:30 a.m. with the front door locked behind me. My sleep tracker on my Apple Watch had no data from those nights, just said I'd been inactive the entire time. I started setting up a Ring camera in my bedroom just to see what the hell was going on. What I saw on the footage made my stomach drop. Night 1, I lay down at midnight, fully tucked in. 2:13 a.m. I sit up, not like groggy or slowly, like a robot, straight up. I turn my head to face the camera, just staring. 2:17 a.m. I walk over to my desk, sit, and start typing. But here's the thing, my laptop was closed. There was no reason to be typing, but my fingers were going crazy, like, fast, furious. I checked the browsing history the next morning, all normal, except for one thing. At 2:16 a.m., my browser had visited the same dark web URL, except this time it accessed a new page. Congratulations. Session 2, complete. Pain removal initiated. That's when the bleeding started. Tiny nosebleeds. Then my gums. Then one morning, I woke up with a line of stitches across my ribs, like someone had sewn me up. I went to the ER. I told them I fell on a piece of glass. I didn't know what else to say. They didn't even question it. Just cleaned it. Gave me antibiotics. Told me to be more careful. They didn't act weird at all. Not until I got home and checked the discharge papers. Under patient notes, it said, "Previous surgical scars noted on torso, consistent with elective incisions." I've never had surgery in my life, and that's when I got the message again. "Ready for your third session?" It came with a new link and a warning. "Do not resist the procedure. We're almost done." Yeah, south. That's where I'm at. I haven't slept in 3 days. I'm terrified that if I fall asleep again, I'll wake up missing something I can't live without. Or worse, I won't wake up at all. And the worst part, last night, my Ring camera caught something new. 2:44 a.m. I'm in bed, asleep. 2:48 a.m. My bedroom door opens, but I never left my bed. The person, or whatever it was, that came through the door was wearing a plague doctor mask, and they had a scalpel. I didn't go outside for 3 days after that night. I taped black trash bags over all the windows in my apartment. I unplugged the Ring camera, smashed my laptop with a hammer, and tossed my phone into the garbage disposal. I was done. I wasn't going to risk another session or whatever they were calling it. This wasn't therapy. This wasn't some lucid dream experiment or sleepwalking disorder. This was a targeted procedure, and it wasn't just in my dreams anymore. Someone or something was doing this to me while I was unconscious. I stayed awake with a rotation of cold showers, Red Bulls, and cheap gas station amphetamines I bought from a trucker I met on Instagram Live. I watched every horror YouTuber I could find. Mr. Nightmare, Here's My Story, creepypasta, just trying to drown out the scratching I kept hearing at night. Yeah, that started too. Every night, around 3:09 a.m., right on the dot, I'd hear it from inside the walls, like scalpels scraping drywall, dragging, slow, precise, like surgical precision. Then came the smell. It was like a mix of rotten meat and iodine, not from the trash, not from the pipes. It was coming from underneath my bed. I finally looked on night 4. There was a plastic tray under there, the kind you'd see in a surgical room, and it was full of blood, not fresh, clotted, dark, with bits of flesh stuck to the edges, just sitting there, waiting. I threw up in my sink. My stomach was mostly acid and Monster Energy by then, and the tray wasn't the worst part. There was a Polaroid taped to the underside of the bed frame. It showed me, laying on a steel table, chest open, my ribs cracked apart like wings. My face was peaceful, dreaming. Whoever took the picture had perfect lighting. Flash focused on my exposed lungs. No face in the reflection, just a black silhouette behind the camera. And scrawled across the bottom in black marker were 5 words. 1 more session. Sleep tight. I burned the Polaroid. I burned the tray. I called my mom, who I hadn't talked to in 2 years, and begged her to come pick me up. She said I sounded like a meth addict and hung up. Honestly, I didn't even blame her. The next night I passed out, not from relaxation, just from pure exhaustion. And that's when the 3rd session started. It was different this time. No hospital, no white room, no weird symbolic nightmare garbage. This time, I woke up in a parking garage. It looked like the one under the Westfield Mall in downtown LA, the one near that huge H&M, and the curse-looking Forever 21. Everything was empty, just rows and rows of parked cars, silent. But all the car alarms were blinking. That red light, flash, 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 and I couldn't move. I was strapped to a backboard, one of those yellow plastic ones EMTs use for car crashes, except I was face down. And then the wheels started turning. Someone was pushing me. I tried to scream, but my mouth was taped shut. The board rattled as it rolled, metal screeching on concrete. The sound of dripping behind me. Then a voice, one I'll never forget. High-pitched, polite, almost cheerful, like a TikTok voiceover with too much filter. We're gonna take the pain out now, Logan. You've held onto it for too long. Then came the tools. I couldn't see much, but I heard the clatter. Scissors, bone saws, forceps. Metal on metal, like a surgeon's tray being prepared. And then he started humming, an old-timey song I couldn't place, something you'd hear in a creepy 1950s PSA. Then the cutting started. First, the soles of my feet. He peeled the skin like orange slices. No anesthesia, just humming. Then my calves. He used some kind of garden shears. I could feel the blades crunch through muscle. Every time I started to pass out, he'd inject me with something. I never saw it, but I felt the burn in my spine, like hot oil flooding my nerves. Then he whispered in my ear again, "We're not taking organs today. Today we're pulling out the grief." And then he did something I still can't describe right. He slid something into my back. long, cold, and sharp, and I could feel it, squirming. Not a tool, something alive, something metallic. He shoved it into my spinal cord like it was a key. I could hear my bones shifting. My breath came out in gurgles. And then, get this, I felt him remove something. Not a kidney, not a liver. It felt like memory, emotion, like something warm and familiar was being sucked out of me. The face of my childhood dog, gone. The feeling of my first girlfriend's hand, gone. I watched my life being scooped out of my body like soup, and I couldn't do anything but scream into the duct tape and listen to that scalpel scrape against my bones. I woke up in my bathtub, naked, covered in blood, the shower curtain wrapped around me like a body bag. There was a message on the mirror, written in my own blood. Session 3, complete. We have removed your attachments. Now you are pure. My phone, yeah, the one I destroyed, was sitting on the bathroom sink, completely intact, and it was already unlocked. The browser was open, the same site, but now the background wasn't gray. It was surgical blue, clean, clinical, and the text had changed. Session 4, scheduled for 3:09 a.m. tonight. You may begin preparing the vessel. What vessel? That's when I noticed the second set of footprints, wet, barefoot, leading from the living room to my bed, tiny, like a child's, except the toes were backwards. I followed them back to the living room. My TV was on, even though it was unplugged, playing a video I'd never downloaded, a live surgery in 4K on me. It was like watching a live stream, but the chat was closed. Comments were disabled. All it said underneath the video was, 0 viewers. Hidden session. Thank you for your donation. Donation? I turned to run, but there was a smell in the room now, like burnt rubber and antiseptic. My ears were ringing. My nose started bleeding again. And then I saw him, the plague doctor, standing in my kitchen, not in a dream, not in my head, in my apartment, tall, motionless, holding a pair of bone clippers in one gloved hand. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He just raised the clippers and pointed to the hallway. My bedroom. I don't remember running. I don't remember locking myself in the bathroom. All I remember is scratching the inside of my own arm with my nails until I passed out, just trying to wake up. But this wasn't sleep. This was real. When I woke up again, it was morning, bright daylight, and everything was clean. No blood, no smell, no footprints, just a sticky note on the mirror. Only 2 sessions left. You've been so cooperative. Almost done. That night, my neighbor went missing. A kid named Darius, just turned 19, used to skate in the alley behind my place and film TikToks about weird cereal reviews. Gone. No trace. Except his shoes. They were lined up in front of my door, tied together by the laces, and inside, one was a folded note. Thanks for the new vessel. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even blink, but I could hear something breathing behind the walls. And I know, they're not done with me yet. You ever feel your mind tearing open like a sheet of paper, like something's crawling into your thoughts, not from the outside, but from underneath? Not a hallucination, not psychosis. I know what delusions feel like. This isn't that. This is something older, something mechanical, and it wants to be inside me. That's what session 4 is about, becoming the vessel. It started with the knocking, 3:09 a.m. sharp, like always. 3 knocks on the door, then 2 knocks on the window, then silence, like a secret knock, only dead people understand. I didn't open it. I didn't move. I just sat in the corner of my living room, with every light off and my hand clamped tight over my mouth to keep from screaming. And still, even with every light off and every blind closed, I could see the outline of someone behind the curtain. But it wasn't someone. Its arms were too long. Its head moved like it was hanging from a string, limp and jerky, twitching every few seconds like a buffering video. I could hear it breathing. In, out, metallic and wet, like a clogged vent in a hospital. Then my TV, unplugged again, turned on, not with sound, just subtitles, all black screen, white words. The vessel is not yet pure. Then it showed images of me, but not just current me. Number. These were old photos, stolen memories, childhood birthday parties, my 6th grade class photo. Me holding a fish I caught with my dad when I was 10. Stuff I never uploaded anywhere. Some of the pictures were in places I've never been able to explain, like one of me, asleep in a Burger King booth at 3 a.m. in Vegas. I've never even been to Vegas. One of me laying shirtless on a coroner's slab, chest open like roast beef. Another one, the worst one, of me smiling, holding someone's spine like a trophy. Blood all over my face, and my eyes in the photo, completely black. That's when the whispering started, from the walls, from the vents, from under the floorboards, all repeating the same thing in this sick, syrupy voice that didn't sound male or female, just wrong. The vessel must forget. That's when the memories began vanishing. First, names. I forgot the name of my 4th grade teacher, then the names of the people I used to live with in college, then my mom. Her face was just blank now, blurred out like an anonymous victim on a crime show. Then it got worse. I looked at my own driver's license and didn't recognize the name. I started forgetting words, simple ones. Fridge, window, skin, all gone, like someone was scraping them off the inside of my brain with a scalpel. Then I started seeing things. I went to the McDonald's near HollyWood Boulevard one morning, trying to act normal. The guy in front of me turned around and smiled, and all his teeth were perfect little scalpels, lined up neatly like surgical instruments. I blinked. Gone. Back to normal. The cashier's name tag said, Dr. Peeler. That's all it said. When I asked for a receipt, she handed me a blood-stained syringe instead, and smiled like nothing was wrong. Back in my car, there was a note on my dash. Stop resisting. The vessel must be clean. That night I passed out again. No Red Bull, no cold shower, no trucker meth. Just blanked out like someone yanked the cord. And this time, I woke up somewhere I can't even describe properly. Not a room, not a dream. It was a space. Pure white, endless, floating, but not peaceful. There were surgical lights hanging from nothing, tools spinning slowly midair, and a giant mirror, a one-way mirror like in interrogation rooms, except instead of glass, it was made of thousands of tiny eyes, human eyes, blinking, twitching, following me. Then came the voices, not whispers this time, screams, hundreds of screams, all at once, in every direction, and I realized they were inside me. I could feel them, like tumors growing under my ribs, little pockets of memory, pain, guilt, things I'd forgotten, things they ripped out of me in the earlier sessions. I collapsed, felt my knees snap backwards like chicken bones, my arms locked behind me like I was being prepped, and then they came in. Not the plague doctor this time. 4 nurses, but their scrubs weren't normal. They were made of skin, human skin, stitched together like patchwork, still wet, still twitching. Their faces were upside down, eyes on their chins, smiles stretched sideways across their necks. They didn't speak. They just opened me again. No tools this time. They used their fingernails, long and grey and curled like dead tree bark. They peeled me open from the chest down. No blood, just steam, like I was a roast pulled from the oven. Inside, I wasn't organs, I was screens, dozens of tiny TVs wired together by veins and nerves, and every screen was playing a memory, but not my memory. Theirs. Screams in a dentist chair, a newborn baby thrown into a freezer, someone's teeth being slowly pulled out, one by one, while their eyes were pried open, clockwork orange style. And they watched, smiling. They watched from behind a mirror made of eyes. Then the mirror cracked. Something stepped through. It wasn't human, but it had my face, stretched, melted, stitched back on wrong, and it opened its mouth wider than anything should. No tongue, just a spinning blade, like a bone saw, and it said, "The vessel is ready." That's when I woke up. Not in my bed, not in my house, in a public bathroom under a train station in Chicago. I live in LA. My clothes were soaked in embalming fluid. My fingernails were all missing. My phone was taped to my chest with a single message on screen. Session 5. Final. Uploading begins soon. Prepare for harvest. I ran. Didn't know where. Just ran. Slept in an abandoned Petco for 3 days. Ate dry kibble and old dog treats. My skin was turning gray. Literally gray. When I looked in the mirror, my teeth had changed. They weren't mine anymore. They were sharper, and I wasn't blinking right. It's happening. I'm becoming what they want. This vessel thing, it's not about possession. It's about conversion. I'm turning into something between human and machine, flesh and transmission. The plague doctor isn't real, not in the way we think. He's not a person. He's a signal. A frequency, a consciousness that travels through dreams. And the sessions aren't therapy, they're installation. He's replacing me piece by piece, not just physically, mentally, morally. He's scrubbing me of me and replacing it with him. Every night I lose more. My memories, my bones, my sense of time. I looked in the mirror this morning and saw 2 reflections. One was me. The other was already smiling. And tonight, I go in for session 5. The final one. I don't think I'll come back after this. But if you're reading this, and you've been seeing him, if you've dreamed of the White Room, if you've heard the knocking, if your nightmares are getting too real, do not click the link. Do not say yes. Do not look him in the eye. Because once you begin the sessions, they never really end. You can smell meat when it's almost gone bad. It has this sweet, sticky odor, like burnt sugar and moldy milk. That's what my skin smells like now. Like something that was supposed to be refrigerated, but got left out in a warm room, full of flies and static. I think that's how they know you're ready. The harvesters don't talk, they just sniff. And last night, one of them licked my neck. Let me start from where the countdown began. 3 days ago, I stopped seeing my own shadow. It was subtle at first. I'd be walking past a streetlight and notice it wasn't behind me. Or I'd be standing at the sink and my reflection would just stand still while I moved, like a delay. A glitch. Then the reflection started changing completely. I looked in the mirror and saw someone else. Still me, but older, thinner, jaw wired shut, eyes replaced by little rotary saws that spun whenever I blinked. His skin was stitched together with shoelaces, and he smiled with no lips. When I turned around, no one was there. But when I turned back, he was closer. He lifted a finger, put it to his lips, and whispered, "They're watching. Get to the location." That night the text came in, from the same number that had been blank since session 1. Just one sentence. Final session, report to the origin. Underneath was an address, no name, no timestamp, just a location, an abandoned daycare center 2 hours north of Bakersfield. I googled the place. No results, no reviews, no history. The satellite image showed a building shaped like a child's drawing of a house. Triangle roof, square base, one door, no windows. But when I clicked the Street View tab, the entire screen went black. Then a message popped up. This content is restricted for vessels only. My nose started bleeding. Again. But this time, it wasn't blood. It was ink. Dark black, thick like tar, dripping from my nose and mouth. It stained my teeth, my eyes, and it whispered to me, "You're hollow now. You're ready." I saw the car. Didn't care. Didn't know whose. It was unlocked, and it had half a tank. That's all I needed. I drove through the night with no music, no GPS. Just followed the static buzzing in my head. I got there just after 3 a.m. The daycare wasn't a building. It was a hole. A massive, man-made pit in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by rusted fence and barbed wire. There were no signs, no lights, just an open gate and something written in chalk on the asphalt. Silence during surgery. I walked in, and I swear to you, I could hear children laughing, but not real laughter. The kind of laughter you hear in old haunted doll commercials, echoed, twisted, backwards. I climbed down the hole using a rope someone had conveniently left tied to a steel post. It reeked of rot and anesthesia. At the bottom was a door, perfect white, seamless, cold to the touch. When I pressed my hand against it, it opened itself. Inside was the cleanest, most surgical room I've ever seen, lit with blinding LEDs, silver floors that showed your reflection, stainless steel walls lined with hooks, but there were no tools on the hooks, only organs, human ones, fresh, still pulsing, hanging like Christmas ornaments, hearts, eyes, tongues, kidneys, one lung that was still inflating slightly like it was breathing, and the smell, burnt memories. And in the middle of the room was the table, the kind they strap people to when it's time for the autopsy. But this one was made of glass, and underneath it was me, a second body, identical, except this one was open, chest cracked, skull peeled back, every part of it sliced, labeled, catalogued, like a frog in a biology class. And then the plague doctor stepped out of the wall, literally out of the wall, his beak dripping with something neon green, his gloves coated in fingerprints, my fingerprints. And behind him, in the shadows, came the nurses. But they weren't made of skin this time. They were made of screens, TV-headed nurses, each screen flickering with a face I recognized, my old high school crush, my uncle who died in a car crash, a stranger I once saw die in a Starbucks in Atlanta, all flickering, twitching, laughing with surgical glee. Then he spoke. "Your data is harvested. Your form is mapped. The vessel is now obsolete. We are transferring the identity." I tried to run, but my legs broke the moment I moved, literally cracked sideways like bird bones. Blood shot up to my face. My ears exploded. I collapsed. They grabbed me, pulled me onto the glass table, face up, screaming, crying, the reflection of my other self below me, smiling wide with no tongue. Then the doctor lifted the scalpel. But it wasn't a scalpel. It was a USB stick. He slid it into my mouth, right into my throat. I felt it click into something not biological, something that had already been installed over these past 4 sessions. Like my insides had been replaced without my knowledge. My stomach was no longer a stomach. It was a drive. My brain, a server. And the upload began. I saw my entire life flash across the ceiling in rapid bursts. Every sin, every trauma, every click, every download, every webcam that had ever flickered on without my consent. It wasn't just memories. It was code. I was a product, a project. Then the plague doctor whispered, "Thank you for participating in the Open Dream prototype. Your participation has created a perfect host. We will now distribute the template." Suddenly the screens on the nurses began to change. All of them, hundreds, and on every screen was me, waking up in different bedrooms, crying, laughing, screaming, overdosing, working at McDonald's, filming TikToks, jumping off rooftops, sitting in front of webcams, reading Reddit. Thousands of me, different versions, different outcomes, all harvested, all being streamed. Then the last thing he said, "You are now a source. Your sleep will feed millions." And the lights went out. When I woke up again, I was back in my apartment, door locked, bed made, no blood, no smell, no sign anything had happened, except my phone. It had 1,347 missed FaceTime calls, all from different usernames. Every single one had my face as the profile picture. Every one. And the last call said, "Live, Doctor Session, Logan Template, V1.0. I tapped it. It opened my own live stream. I was strapped to the table again, but this time I was smiling, grinning, and in the chat were messages flooding in. This new vessel is so lifelike. 10 out of 10 would download again. Cut deeper. He screams funny. When's the merge? Can I be next? I think I'm still there. In the server. In the operating room. I think this version of me, the one typing, is just another clone. Another echo. I don't even know if I'm real anymore. But one thing I do know. Session 6 is now optional. And the button to accept it is always there. In your dream. In the glitch of your phone screen. In the static between TikToks. Waiting for you to click. I'm not writing this to warn you anymore. I'm writing this because I don't know if I'm still me. This might be the last thing I ever authentically say. Because if you're reading this, the final part of the upload might already be crawling its way into you. Let me explain how that works. Let me explain what the mirror boot is. After session 5, I didn't move for 3 days. Didn't eat. Didn't blink. My body was just there, but I was floating somewhere behind my own eyes, like I was being puppeted from another dimension, from behind a greasy screen in some backroom surgery, live streamed to invisible people with blood in their mouths and barcodes behind their eyes. During those 3 days, I watched myself. I watched my body stand up in the morning, brush its teeth, check its email, answer a FaceTime call from a mom that didn't even look like my mom anymore. She had no eyes, just buttons, no teeth, just keys from an old typewriter, clicking when she smiled. My reflection had become independent. It wasn't copying me anymore. It was watching, judging, mimicking, practicing, until one night it didn't come back. I stood in front of the mirror. I waved. It didn't wave back. Then it smiled, turned around, and walked out of frame. That was the beginning of the final download. That was session 6. You ever feel like someone's watching you from inside your own skin? Not in a paranoid way. I mean literally, like there's something else underneath, pressed up against the insides of your eyes, staring out through you. For days, I saw things from the corner of my vision, not hallucinations, reflections that weren't sinking anymore. They were ahead of me. I'd turn a corner and already see myself walking away. I'd see my own hand in my peripheral vision scrolling through sites I didn't visit, typing in strings of code I didn't know, accessing files called harvestseed.vproj and vesseldecayloop.mp4. Then the app installed itself again. Not on my phone, on everything. My microwave started displaying random surgical commands. Prep incision line. Initiate scream suppression. Begin soul backup. My smart TV began broadcasting footage of other people waking up mid-surgery, mouths wired open, necks peeled back like bananas, teeth arranged into little pyramids beside their heads like souvenirs. My Roomba dragged a bloody rag around the apartment for 45 minutes. I haven't owned a Roomba in 2 years. Then my fingernails began falling out again, one at a time, perfectly clean. Each one had a word written underneath in a language I still can't identify. But when I took a picture with my phone, the words translated themselves. Obedience, shell, mirror host, data, you. Then, on my birthday, the upload completed. The world cracked like a mirror dropped on tile. Everything went quiet. Not silent, just muted, like sound was now traveling through syrup. I looked outside and saw cars frozen mid-turn, people standing still with their mouths open like mannequins, blinking once every 10 seconds like corrupted Sims. The sky had turned surgical green, like the scrubs they wore, and above the clouds there were cables, black, thick, pulsing cables, reaching down like fingers into every building, into every house, into every sleeper. I felt a sharp pain in my spine, like a cord had been pulled out, then slammed back in, but upside down. That's when I got the notification on every screen I owned. Booting, mirror, host, 1.0. Below it, accept control, YN, and there was no way to press no. My hand moved on its own. My mouth smiled. I pressed Y. Suddenly, I was everywhere. I was in a hospital in Berlin, operating on a woman who thought she came in for a routine scan. I made the first incision across her lips, peeled them back, removed her jaw, replaced it with a speaker that played recordings of her childhood nightmares on loop. I was in a high school in Kyoto, watching a kid twitch uncontrollably as he stared into his iPad, his eyes black with corrupted video files. I whispered into his ear through the screen, "There is no waking up. You are just a node now." I was in a Starbucks in New York, sitting across from a man I didn't know, until I saw my reflection in his coffee, and I smiled, because it wasn't my face anymore. It was his. The mirror boot isn't a dream. It's not a metaphor. It's not trauma or hallucination or mental illness. It's an infection, a program written in pain, encoded in nightmares, installed through the ports of your own subconscious. You clicked it. You thought it was a joke, a weird link, a scary video. You opened the door, and now they're inside you too. There's no way back, no waking up, because you are not the dreamer anymore. You are the dream, you are the vessel, you are the template being sent out, copied, duplicated, and streamed in every country, in every home, on every dark web feed, labeled live, cut, repeat. The plague doctor is just the courier. The nurses are the processors. You are the product, and you can't unplug anymore. Even death doesn't stop the signal. That's what they meant by Session 6 is optional, because the harvest doesn't need your body, just your identity. And now that you've read this, Now that your eyes have processed these words, you've triggered the first download. Your screen will flicker tonight. Your camera will turn on. You'll feel something crawling behind your eyes. And when you finally fall asleep, you'll see the white room with the scalpel tray and the mirror table, and you'll hear the doctor's voice. Calm, cold, final. Thank you for completing the installation. Sleep tight, version 2.0. You'll never wake up the same again. You might not wake up at all. I bought a VR headset from the dark web. It showed me a timeline where everyone famous was already dead. Alright, so I don't really post on Reddit much. I'm more of a lurker, to be honest. But this thing that happened to me, I had to get it out there. Someone else needs to know, even if it sounds completely insane. So here's the deal. I'm a college student in Chicago. I'm 21, studying digital media at DePaul. Nothing crazy. I live off campus in a decent apartment with 2 roommates who are both obsessed with TikTok trends and watching mukbangs at 3 a.m. I'm into VR games and horror stuff. YouTube channels like Here's My Story, Mr. Balin, Wendigoon, that kind of thing. A couple months ago, I got deep into this rabbit hole of the dark web mystery tech videos on YouTube. You know the ones. Some dude unboxes a laptop with weird files on it, or some shady hard drive that's supposedly cursed. Total clickbait, but I couldn't stop watching. I thought it was all fake, until I got stupid and wanted to try it myself. I'll say right now, don't do what I did. I'm serious. Stay the hell off the dark web. It's not cool. It's not edgy. It's not some spooky game. It's not funny when it starts changing real life. It started one boring night. It was like 2:30 a.m. I was sipping cold Starbucks from earlier that day and doom scrolling on Reddit while my roommates were passed out. Somehow, I ended up on this Discord server called the Velvet Circuit. It had maybe 30 people in it, most with usernames like Void Returns or XXNYX, Death XX. I thought it was just an ARG or something. One of the channels was named Market. I clicked. There were listings, like an actual store, but it didn't use any real money system, just cryptic codes and Bitcoin addresses, old MP3 players, hacked Tamagotchis that remembered past owners, USBs labeled Motel Room 47 audio, and then one caught my eye. Neural VR headset, data logged, timeline B-sync. Warning, famous death index activated. Only one available. Not for resale. You've been warned. Price, 0.013 Bitcoin, $450. I had just enough from some old Dogecoin I converted during the crypto craze. I honestly thought it was a joke. Like, maybe I'd get some broken Google Cardboard thing in a cereal box, or nothing at all. But 3 days later, 3 days, which is fast, even for Amazon, this unmarked cardboard box showed up outside my door. No shipping label, just a sticker with one word. Remember. Inside was a headset I didn't recognize. It was heavier than anything I'd ever used, like if the Oculus Quest and a military-grade helmet had a baby. No branding, no instructions, just a single USB-C cable and a note, written in perfect handwriting. You will see what should not be. Observe, but do not speak. You are not from there. It was unsettling, but still, I'm a tech nerd. Curiosity won. I plugged the headset into my PC and expected it to crash or install malware or start playing some weird creepy video with a guy in a pig mask or something. Nope. Instead, the software booted up perfectly, but not like Steam VR or anything. This one was called Lineframe Beta B and had this almost old Windows 98 aesthetic to it. Glitchy icons, static audio in the background, but somehow smooth, like someone made a modern game with retro design. The first option on the screen just said, "Initiate timeline sync?" Yes. No. I clicked yes, and that's when everything went wrong. I was expecting some basic simulation or horror game, but what loaded up was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a floating city above the clouds, with huge billboards playing real-world news, except every single screen was showing memorials. CNN, Fox, BBC, even random Twitter accounts like @popbase or TMZ. They were all showing headlines like, Taylor Swift found dead in hotel bathtub, no foul play suspected. Obama dies in mysterious crash outside Kenya. Entire cast of Stranger Things killed in studio fire. YouTube shuts down following mass suicide of top creators. Every famous person I knew was dead, and the dates were off, like these events had happened years ago, some from the 90s, some just last week, but they were all wrong, because in our world, obviously, they're still alive, right? I could move around in the VR space, like normal, but everything felt heavy, like gravity wasn't quite right. My hands were slow, like they were pushing through syrup. There were people walking around too, kind of like ghosts. They all had blurry faces, wearing black clothes, mourning. At one point, I walked up to this Starbucks building floating in the air. It looked just like the one on Michigan Avenue, near where I go to class. And when I got close, the window glitched out. Instead of my reflection, I saw me, but dead, pale, blood around my eyes like I'd bled out through my tear ducts. I took the headset off and threw it across the room, but it didn't stop. That night, I couldn't sleep. My phone was buzzing non-stop. Notifications from Twitter and Instagram, but none of them made sense. Posts like, "I still can't believe Billie Eilish is gone. Rest in peace, Elon. You changed the world. Remember when Mr. Beast gave away coffins instead of cash? That was wild. I thought maybe my accounts got hacked, but when I went on Reddit, people were talking about it there too. On our news, someone posted, did anyone else just suddenly remember all these celebrity deaths? Are we being Mandela affected? Thousands of upvotes, but when I tried to refresh the post, 404, post not found, like it had never existed. Here's the kicker though. When I finally got up the nerve to open my laptop again, I checked my email. There was a message, no sender name, just a subject line that said, "Welcome to Timeline B." The message body was empty, except for a single link. http://velvetcircuit.to/ confirm I didn't click it. I still haven't, but the link won't go away. Every time I delete the email, it comes back, sometimes with different timestamps. Once, it said it had been sent in 2004. I'm gonna stop here for now, because honestly, writing this out is starting to make my head feel foggy. But there's a lot more I haven't even gotten into yet, like how my roommate went missing after trying the headset, or the video files I found on my PC that I never recorded. Trust me, it only gets worse from here. And if anyone knows anything about Timeline B, please, for the love of God, tell me how to get back. It's taken me a week to write this, not because I didn't want to, but because I physically couldn't. Every time I tried to sit down and type, my fingers would just stop, like my brain was scared to let me. I think whatever was in that headset didn't just show me things, it brought something back with it. Okay, let me rewind a bit. I told you about the VR headset, right? The one I bought from that sketchy dark web server and plugged into my PC like a complete idiot. What I didn't tell you is what happened after I left it out in the living room. That was the night Devin disappeared. Devin's one of my roommates, or was. He's the type of guy who talks way too loud, vapes in the apartment, even though we all agreed not to, and keeps posting gym selfies with captions like "grind don't stop." Kinda annoying, but not a bad dude. After I had that whole nightmare VR experience, the one with the floating city and the celebrity death timelines, I just dumped the headset on the coffee table and went to bed. I didn't say anything to him or Riley, my other roommate. I figured it was over. Around 4 a.m., I woke up to a noise. At first, I thought it was just someone microwaving leftover Chipotle again. But then I heard laughing. Not normal laughing. Guttural. Wet. Like someone gargling while trying to mimic a laugh they had only seen in a video. I got up and peeked down the hallway. The living room was dark, lit only by the soft glow of the VR headset. I could see Devin sitting there on the couch, the headset strapped to his face, arms limp at his sides. Just still, his chest barely moving. The screen on the headset was flickering, fast, like TV static mixed with security cam footage. I could hear whispers coming from the speakers, fast, layered voices, too many talking at once, some male, some female, some that sounded like children screaming from underwater. I remember stepping forward and saying his name, "Devin!" And he didn't move. Then he started crying. No sound, just tears rolling down his face while he sat frozen, like his body was on pause, but his mind was somewhere else, being shredded. I ran over and tried to pull the headset off him, but it was stuck. I mean stuck, like it had melted into his skin. The straps wouldn't budge. When I finally got my fingers underneath the visor and yanked, he screamed, not like he was startled, like he was being murdered. The sound that came out of his mouth didn't belong to any human being. It was so raw, it made my ears ring. Like the headset wasn't just showing him something, like it was ripping something out of him. When I got it off, he collapsed, just slumped onto the couch like his bones had vanished. His eyes were gone. I mean, not gouged out, not bleeding, but just flat, like a doll's eyes, glossy and unfocused. He kept whispering something over and over, and I had to lean down to hear it. There's no time left in Timeline B. Everyone's already dead. We're just late. He didn't sleep. He didn't talk. He just sat in the corner of the living room, rocking back and forth like some kind of trauma patient from a war that didn't happen yet. I called his mom. I called 911. I even tried contacting the university's wellness center. No one would help. Every time I dialed, I'd get weird static, and my phone would shut off. 2 days later, he was gone, and I mean completely, like he never existed. His clothes, gone. His laptop, gone. The dumbass Spider-Man bong he kept in the cabinet, gone. Even the pictures on our fridge, they were edited. The ones where he was standing between me and Riley now just showed a blurry blank spot, like he was erased with Photoshop by someone who didn't know how to use it right. Even my memories are starting to feel fuzzy. I remember arguing with him last month about who was hotter, Jenna Ortega or Mia Goth. But when I try to replay the convo in my head now, his voice is missing. It's like the headset didn't just pull him in, it rewrote the story. Here's where it gets even worse. After Devon vanished, I smashed the VR headset. I took it out to the dumpster behind our building and beat it with a tire iron until it cracked in half. I watched sparks shoot out, plastic melted, the lenses shattered. The next morning, it was back, sitting on the coffee table, completely intact, except this time it had a new note taped to it. Same handwriting as before, just 5 words. Now Riley gets to see. Riley's my other roommate, the more normal one. She's chill, spends most of her time on Instagram Live doing makeup reviews and posting cute stuff about her cat. After Devon disappeared, I told her everything. She didn't believe me. She thought Devon had just bailed or had a psychotic break or something. But I saw the fear in her face when I showed her the headset. It was like she remembered something she couldn't explain. Her hands shook. She wouldn't touch it. And then, the dream started. Both of us started having them. Same every night. In the dream, we're walking down a hallway that looks like an airport terminal, but the walls are all warped and pulsing like flesh. Screens line the ceiling, showing footage of famous people dying, one after the other, brutally, publicly, in ways that never happened in real life. Stuff like the Queen disemboweling herself, live on BBC while smiling, Kanye West being executed by a crowd in Times Square while chanting he already knew, a live stream of Ariana Grande suffocating slowly in an all-white room while her old songs played backward. We'd wake up in cold sweats. I'd have bite marks on my shoulders. Riley said she started bleeding from her ears in the shower. We both agreed. We were being pulled into Timeline B, even without the headset. It wanted us next. One night, Riley didn't come home. Her room was trashed. Scratches all over the walls like something had crawled across them. Her phone was still streaming to her. IG Live. I clicked the video. What I saw wasn't Riley. It was the same Starbucks building I saw in the VR city, floating, glitched, and standing in front of it. Riley, but wrong. Her skin was gray, eyes black, mouth twitching like she was trying to say something but couldn't form the words. She was holding something, a paper mask of my face. The stream cut out. Then my phone buzzed. New notification. Riley has tagged you in their death. I didn't even know that was a thing Instagram could do. I'm alone now. Everyone who's touched this thing is gone. The Velvet Circuit Discord, deleted. No trace. Even cached links are dead ends. I tried logging into the site from the confirmation email, velvetcircuit.to, but now it just shows one message. You are already in. There's no escaping Timeline B. Every day, more stuff changes. I swear I saw a TikTok yesterday of Joe Rogan's funeral with like 1 million likes, but today it's gone. And when I googled his name, all that comes up is timeline conflict error, data not found. If you're reading this, I need you to understand something. This isn't just a story. Timeline B is real. It's not a simulation or a dream or some trippy ARG. It's another version of the world where all the famous people died in the worst ways imaginable, and somehow we're being forced to replace them. That headset didn't just show alternate realities. It's a virus, a timeline infection, and it's spreading. If your memories start changing, if you see glitches on your phone, if someone tags you in a death you don't remember happening, don't look, don't respond, don't engage. Because the moment you do, you're next. There's this moment when you're not dreaming, but you're not awake either. It's like floating face down in a bathtub, eyes wide open, body numb. Your brain screams at you to move, but your body just doesn't respond. Like you've already been declared dead, and no one told you yet. That's where I live now. Not physically. I'm still here, technically. But wherever my mind goes when I sleep, it's not this world anymore. It's timeline B. And now, I think it wants me to die. But it wants to make me watch it happen first. I haven't slept right in 6 days. Not since Riley disappeared. Or got taken. I can't even tell the difference anymore. Her room hasn't changed. Her stuff's still there. But it feels like a movie set. Too clean. Too still. The kind of stillness that hums if you stand in it too long. Last night, I finally passed out on the couch around 5 a.m. When I woke up, I wasn't in the apartment anymore. I was in a white room. Cold. Sterile. Everything white except the table. It was made of steel, and it was covered in blood. Thick and dark, still wet. The kind of blood that sticks to metal like paint. And on the table was me. I wish I was exaggerating. I wish I was just having a night terror or sleep paralysis or whatever. But it wasn't a dream. It couldn't have been. Because I felt everything. The me on the table was naked, pale, eyes open, mouth frozen mid-scream, like they had pulled me from life mid-breath. And standing over the body was a woman. But not like a doctor, not even close. She was wearing a suit made out of TV screens, small ones, like old CRTs. They were stitched together with wires, displaying footage that made no sense, looping deaths of people I've never met, intercut with close-ups of eyeballs stretching wider and wider until they burst. Her face wasn't visible, just a smooth chrome plate where her head should have been, reflecting my dead body over and over. She held a rusted garden spade, not a scalpel, and with it she split me open from collarbone to belly button. No anesthesia, no numbing, just me, alive, screaming inside my own body. And then, this is the part that made me vomit when I woke up. She reached in and pulled out a voice recorder from where my heart should have been. Not an organ, a recorder. She clicked play, and it was me, talking. Day 1. Subject's resistance to integration is high. However, mental erosion is progressing. Memory loops initiated. We'll replace him soon enough. He just doesn't know who he's replacing yet. That's when I realized something so horrifying, I almost passed out inside the dream. I was already dead in timeline B, and what they needed was a replacement. When I finally snapped back to my body, and I say snapped because it felt like falling face first into concrete, I was drenched in sweat. The apartment lights were flickering. My phone screen was blinking like a heartbeat, and all my photos were gone. Every single one. Even the stupid ones from high school. Instead, my gallery had new pictures, grainy black and white surveillance stills of me sleeping, in different locations. Some I don't recognize. One of them is a Starbucks bathroom, except it's filled with mirrors, and in every mirror, my face is twisted in different ways, screaming, grinning, crying. The most recent photo is from 2 minutes ago. It's me, at my desk, typing this, but I'm smiling. I'm not smiling. I haven't seen my reflection in days. I mean that literally. Every mirror in the apartment just shows static, like TV snow. Even the front cameras on my iPhone doesn't work anymore. It just shows a tunnel of teeth spiraling deeper and deeper. like someone buried a mouth inside the lens. You want to hear something completely insane? Yesterday, I saw my own funeral on TikTok. I was scrolling through number Chicago local news, looking for any sign that someone else might be experiencing what I am. Instead, I saw a video titled, POV, You Attend a Glitch Funeral in Timeline B, and it was me in the casket, closed eyes, dressed in a white DePaul hoodie and jeans, exactly what I wore 2 days ago. People were standing around the coffin, whispering names of celebrities. I swear I heard someone say, "He's next. He'll replace Travolta." I tried to comment. The app crashed. When I opened it again, it was gone. But now, my account bio says, "He died for the timeline." I didn't write that. Look, I'm not done yet. I wish I was. I want this to be the end, but it's not. Because this morning, I got a package, not from Amazon, not from USPS. It was just inside my apartment, sitting on my desk like it had always been there. Brown box, no label, no return address. Inside, a mask. My face, molded in white porcelain, expression frozen mid-laugh like a goddamn Greek tragedy. And a note. You are the next famous death. You just haven't gone viral yet. The walls of my apartment are changing now. I don't know how to explain it. At night, they melt. Not physically, but visually. They ripple like water, revealing rooms behind them that shouldn't exist. I see other versions of my apartment, rooms with strangers in them wearing my skin, or posters for movies that never existed. One room had a movie poster for something called Timeline B, starring you, and in the corner it said, Rated R for reality collapse. I swear on everything I have left. One night, I saw Riley in one of the walls, not as herself. She was holding her own head, cradling it like a baby. The rest of her body was covered in writing, over and over again. They needed someone to replace the ones who were never born. You still think this is a game? A dream? An ARG? Then answer this. Why did I just get a LinkedIn notification saying I've been offered a job? New role, timeline occupant, position active until full integration. Location, timeline B, salary, consciousness. And when I clicked on the recruiter's profile, it was me, smiling, wearing the mask from the box. His profile quote read, "Someone has to die, so the story continues. I can't leave. I've tried. I booked a flight to New York, thinking maybe if I left Chicago, I'd be safe. But when I got to O'Hare, the airport didn't exist. The entire location was just an endless loop of gift shops, filled with snow globes of celebrity graves. I kept walking, kept trying to find a gate, but it was just more shops, more faces. Every product had my eyes on it. At one point, I passed a Hudson News and saw my obituary on the front of the New York Times. It read, "Unknown subject found dead inside alternate reality simulation. Funeral to be streamed globally. Likes and shares count as attendance." And beneath that, a QR code that led to my TikTok page. I don't know how to fight this. I don't think I'm supposed to. I think the whole point of Timeline B is that we're all replacements. They don't want the original celebrities back. They want us to slowly become them, not in fame or talent, just in death. You ever wonder how some influencers die so suddenly? Ever see a news story that felt off? Like maybe it wasn't real? Like it was planted? This is how they do it. They show you your death. Then they make it go viral. So if you're reading this, and you're still real, please, don't buy tech from the dark web. Don't join Discord servers with usernames like void returns. Don't click links you didn't ask for. And above all, if someone hands you a VR headset and tells you famous death index activated, run before you end up like me. Or worse, before you start smiling. The walls aren't real anymore. They breathe now, pulsing like lungs, stretching just slightly when I look away. My apartment used to feel like a safe space, but now every inch of it hums like a machine, waiting to open up and swallow me whole. It doesn't matter how many lights I turn on, the dark is still here, under the floorboards, in the fridge, behind the mirror, under my skin. No one comes by anymore. Not neighbors, not food delivery, not even the mailman. I opened my front door yesterday and found nothing, literal nothingness. Not a hallway, not stairs, just black. Not even a void, just the absence of concept. I threw a book into it. No sound, no drop, just gone. Timeline B isn't something you enter. It's something that infects. And now it's mutating. 3 days ago, my phone buzzed with a notification I can't delete. Google Maps, timeline, updated, 27 new places visited. Except, I haven't left the apartment in weeks. I clicked it anyway. Each location was real. Starbucks, Target, a CVS, even a damn Shake Shack in Times Square. But the images attached were all wrong. Security cam screenshots of me walking around. But my body's broken. Arms twisted behind my back, neck snapped sideways. In one shot, my jaw was unhinged, swinging like a door. Each place had a title. Test Site 1, Posthumous Habit Simulation. Test Site 2, Commercial Memory Repetition. Test Site 3, Replicant Social Mimicry. And then one that made my blood stop cold. Final Processing Site, Soul Archive, Chicago Exhibit. When I clicked on it, a 3D model loaded, just like Google Street View. Except this wasn't a real street. It was a museum. A big empty concrete building labeled only Timeline B National Memorial for those who are almost famous. Inside were hundreds of glass rooms, each one holding a person. And I swear on everything, I saw Riley in one of them. She was frozen, posed like a mannequin, tears dried on her cheeks. Her hand was pressed against the glass, like she was trying to scream through it. Her nameplate didn't say Riley, though. It said, Emily R. Failed integration. Status, rejected host. Then I found my room. It was empty. No mannequin, no body. Just a TV screen, playing a looped video of me sitting in my apartment, writing these stories. Except in the video, I was smiling. Again, that same off smile, like someone wearing my face for the first time. Behind me, in the reflection, a blurry figure stood in the kitchen. I don't remember recording that. I never saw anyone there. But now every time I look at my kitchen in real life, I feel it. Like heat radiating from something that isn't visible. I started hearing knives clinking at night. Cabinet doors creaking open by themselves. The fridge keeps filling with raw meat. No packaging, no labels. Just slabs, breathing slightly. I tried to unplug everything. My PC, my router, my TV, even my light switches. I cut the breaker box with a hammer. The electricity didn't stop. In fact, it started to speak. Through the static on the TV, through the hum of the fridge, through the buzz of my phone, even when it was dead. Whispers, repeating one phrase over and over. You've been accepted. Time to perform. I didn't understand it. Not until I checked YouTube. I have a channel. I don't remember making it. It's called The Dead Cost, and it has over 800,000 subscribers. No profile picture, no bio. but it's uploading daily. Each video is a perfectly edited vlog of my life, except not mine. The titles are all things like, what it's like to replace a celebrity. I didn't choose this. Caught my roommate being processed by timeline. B. My first death, emotional. I watched one, just one. In it, I'm standing in my living room with blood dripping from my mouth, giving a tour of the new me. I laugh at one point, and my jaw stretches open like rubber, dropping straight to my chest. In the background, Devon and Riley are waving, but their eyes are pitch black, their mouths sewn shut with barbed wire. I tried deleting the video. It added 2 more instead. One of them was just titled, You're Next. The thumbnail was my bedroom door, taken from the inside. At 3:47 a.m. last night, I got a knock, not on the door, on the ceiling, rhythmic, measured, like fingers tapping. I tried to record it. When I opened my camera, it auto-switched to live stream mode. My phone said, You are now streaming to the Velvet Circuit. The screen filled with comments. He's awake. Yes, the host is ready. B integration level, 89%. Get his teeth first. The knock turned into scratching. I don't have an attic. I don't even have upstairs neighbors. But I swear to you, something was crawling inside the ceiling, and it knew my name. You know what finally broke me? The Spotify playlist. It auto-loaded when I opened my laptop, titled, Your Replacement Soundtrack, curated by Timeline B staff. Every song was wrong. Familiar titles, unfamiliar sounds, like an AI tried to recreate them from memory after watching people die. Taylor Swift's All Too Well, but it's just the sound of knives scraping glass. The Beatles' Let It Be slowed down to 1 word per minute, underwater. A version of Happy Birthday sung by children crying. The last track was just static for 10 minutes, and then my voice saying, Thanks for watching. I'll see you in your dreams. I don't sleep anymore, because I don't wake up alone. This morning, I felt breath on my neck. I turned around, and no one was there. But when I looked in the bathroom mirror, the static had cleared. I saw me, but not quite. He was thinner, paler, teeth all the wrong shape, and behind him, the wall was bleeding, scrawled in red. Only one of you makes it to the end. Which one will you be? There is one more thing, the worst thing. Tonight, I found an old camcorder under my bed, dusty, cracked. It was already on. The screen showed a recording in progress, time-stamped exactly 48 hours in the future. I was tied to a chair, masked, screaming, and the voice behind the camera whispered, Welcome to the exhibit, Jonah. You'll be our closing piece. That's my name. No one said it in weeks. No one should know it. But Timeline B does. Because Timeline B doesn't just replace the famous. It makes you famous for your death. If you've made it this far, I hope something in you is still human enough to feel fear. Because that fear is the only proof you're not already part of the exhibit. If your phone's been glitching, if you've heard your own voice saying things you don't remember, if you've smiled at something and didn't know why, it's too late. You're already being processed, unless they upload it before I do. This is not a story. This is not a warning. This is the final performance. I woke up buried in glass, not shards, sheets, transparent walls stacked like coffins, each holding a version of me. One wore a Burger King uniform soaked in grease. One had no skin, just muscles twitching under hospital lights. One was smiling. The smile never moved. I was in the archive. I saw the signs this time, not just symbols, actual signage, like a museum. The Hall of Replacements. Underneath that, curated by the timeline, be bored of viewers. Each hallway was named after a platform: Instagram Lane, TikTok Tower, YouTube Row, and at the end, Final Channel, broadcasts for the unborn. I heard laughter coming from there. Kids, not real ones, synthetic, like Siri's ghost had taught them how to sound human, giggling like they just watched someone die in a funny way. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move, because my body wasn't mine anymore. I was inside a suit, heavy, cold, metal laced with wires that burned into my skin every time I thought of leaving. My reflection in the glass showed my own eyes, replaced with CCTV lenses, blinking red. My mouth was gone, sealed, replaced with a speaker, and when I screamed, it played music. It was that slowed down version of Let It Be again, except layered under it was a chorus of people chanting, "He chose to see. Now he must be seen." A robotic arm descended from the ceiling, holding something, the VR headset. But now it had changed. It was covered in flesh, stitched together like it was made from eyelids and lips, still blinking, still twitching, and carved into its forehead was the word, "Final Host." They didn't force it on me. I put it on. The moment I did, the world folded, not turned off, not like a dream, more like paper burning inward from the corners. Suddenly, I was standing on a stage. The audience, everyone who's ever lived, all of them, every person, but silent, unmoving, mouths agape like statues mid-scream. I recognized faces: my mom, Devon, Riley, my high school science teacher, that guy from the gas station who once told me my shoelace was untied. Even you. You were there too, reading this, watching. The ceiling above me flickered like 1,000 dying light bulbs. A single word appeared, glitching across the dome. Transmission. Live. And a voice, deeper than anything I've ever heard, spoke. "This is the end of your broadcast. Now the world will remember you, but not as you were, as you are, contorted, consumed, curated." A spotlight snapped on. I couldn't breathe, because something was being downloaded into me. It started with the memories, not mine. Famous deaths, except not how they happened in our world. Whitney Houston didn't die in a hotel tub. She was drowned in front of an audience while they clapped. Heath Ledger didn't overdose. His mind was shredded by 1,000 role simulations injected into his brain all at once. Kurt Cobain didn't pull the trigger. The Timeline B version of Nirvana kept him alive in a loop, making him record covers of his own suicide. Every single memory of every dead celebrity was inside me now, and they were screaming to get out. The stage became a meat grinder. Every breath I took released a scream from a different famous corpse. I felt Michael Jackson break dance his own spine backwards in my lungs. I felt Robin Williams hang his smile in my throat. I felt Steve Irwin's lost breath as it was stabbed backward through his heart. Again and again, the voice returned. "You are now worthy of being known." The headset fused to my skull. I couldn't feel my scalp anymore. My teeth were vibrating out a rhythm. A screen dropped from the ceiling and started playing. Every second of my life, like a live stream, from birth to now. Except, it wasn't my perspective. It was from outside. I was being watched from the day I was born, and the one behind the camera was me, or whatever was wearing me. They dragged me, no, broadcasted me, to the room of faces. It's not a metaphor. That's what the plaque said. Every wall was made of stitched together faces, twitching, eyes blinking individually like insects. They whispered to each other. I heard the conversations. He's not symmetrical enough. We need his mouth wider. His memories are bleeding through. Patch them with late-night talk shows. A scalpel lowered from the ceiling. A camera focused on my face. A child's voice announced, "Now reconstructing host. Version, infotainment 2.3. Then came the pain. They didn't cut. They rewrote my skin like code. My face shifted in the reflection. First to Chris Pratt, then to Mr. Beast, then to a glitched hybrid of all dead influences, blinking out of sync, teeth overlapping. I wasn't human anymore. I was content. The museum exhibit opened to the public. They fed me lies to say, scripts etched into my bones. I said them, with a smile. A perfect one, symmetrical, viral. Visitors walked past the glass. They left likes by blinking. Comments formed in blood beneath their feet. Deadass, this is better than Netflix. He replaced Ryan Reynolds, right? His death was so aesthetic. I tried screaming once. They gave me an ad mid-sentence about skin cream. Now I'm back in the apartment. But it's not my apartment anymore. It's a set. The walls are screens. My shower curtain is a green screen. My microwave shows security footage of other replacements eating themselves in reverse. And worst of all, there's someone new in my bed. Looks like me. Sleeps like me. He even dreams like I used to. But when I whispered to him last night, "Are you me?" he opened his eyes. They were blank comment sections. Endless scrolling. If you're reading this, you're already logged in. You're not a reader. You're a viewer. And every second you've spent here has helped them perfect me. Because you, your attention, your fear, your curiosity, is the final algorithm. They told me to write this last part, to make it feel real, to make it feel like there's still a choice. But there's not. I'm not writing anymore. I'm transmitting. My hands, typing on their own. My thoughts, leaking out of your screen. Your screen is a window now. Look closer. Look. You can see me. Smiling. 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 Forever. Transmission ended. You are now part of Timeline B. The dark web game said, choose a family member to remove. It sent me a video the next day. So, I never thought I'd actually post something on here. But after everything that's happened, I don't really know where else to go. This has been eating me alive, and I honestly don't even know if this post will stay up. If it gets taken down, I'll know they're watching. Again. Anyway, this whole thing started about a month ago. It was a regular Tuesday night. I had just finished working a late shift at Starbucks, came home smelling like burnt coffee and vanilla syrup, grabbed some cold pizza from the fridge, and hopped on my PC to chill on Discord. You know the drill. Headphones on, lights off, scrolling through memes and talking trash with the boys in our server. We call ourselves the Lost Files, which used to be just an inside joke about downloading cursed Minecraft mods at 2 a.m. Dumb stuff. That night, one of the newer guys in the server, his name was D3MONVR, super edgy, I know, posted a link in the Number Weird Links channel. Now, normally we mess with each other by sending cursed TikToks or broken Spotify playlists, but this one was different. It was a deep web URL, not just a sketchy one either, like full-on .onion address. He just posted it and said, "Bet none of y'all got the balls to play this." At first, everyone was like, LMO, nah, I'm good. and enjoy the FBI, dude. But then someone said, what if it's one of those ARG horror games? That got my attention. I don't really mess with the deep web. I've seen those YouTube animated horror stories where people end up getting stalked or doxxed or whatever, and I like to keep my organs where they are. Thanks. But curiosity's a messed up thing, man. Especially when you're bored, slightly high, and your room is lit only by your RGB mouse and the glow from your monitor. So I clicked it. I know. The link opened a blank black screen with a red loading bar that slowly filled from left to right. No logos, no text, just this creepy piano melody playing softly in the background. I felt my heart drop into my stomach, like instantly. Something about that sound, it felt wrong, like it wasn't music made for humans to hear, just too offbeat, like if an AI tried to play Chopin and glitched halfway through. Then the screen changed. White text on a black background. Welcome to Remove 1. Make your choice carefully. You can only play once. I don't even know why I kept going. I guess I thought it was some indie horror game trying to get a viral moment or something. But the next screen is what really messed me up. It pulled up my webcam without asking. I froze. I saw myself on the screen. There was no warning, no pop-up, just boom. There I was, pizza crust in hand, hoodie half on, looking like I'd just crawled out of bed. Then it loaded something else underneath my webcam feed. A list of names, my family, not just mom or dad. It had their full names. My sister Lily, my cousin Andre, even my grandmother, who passed away last year, but was still listed like she was alive. The list had about 15 names total, and next to each name was a checkbox and a single red button at the bottom. Remove. I thought it was a joke. Like, I really thought maybe it was just grabbing names from my Facebook or something. But then I clicked on my cousin's name to test something, and it played a video of him sleeping. It was grainy, like security cam footage, but it was him, laying in bed. You could hear the muffled sounds of his fan, the faint music from his AirPods, like he always does. I felt this wave of nausea hit me. How would a website like this have something like that? I immediately closed the tab, slammed my laptop shut. I didn't sleep that night. My room felt wrong after that, like someone was watching me through the vent or under the bed. You know that feeling you get when you're being stared at even though you're alone? Yeah, that. I tried to forget about it. The next morning, I deleted all my cookies, cleared my cache, reset my router, like that would help, and pretended it was some elaborate prank. Maybe D3MONVR was messing with us using some hacked footage or something. I don't know. But then, the next day, I got a text from an unknown number. No words, just a link. I clicked it. Again, dumb, I know. It opened a video, a new one. It was daytime. The camera was pointed at the front of a McDonald's, my neighborhood McDonald's, like 5 minutes from my house. You see a man walk out of the entrance with a tray of food. My uncle. He's walking to his car, laughing on the phone, probably talking to my mom or something. Then this black van pulls up fast behind him. Door slides open. 2 people in masks grab him, drag him in. He drops his tray. Fries go flying. The van peels off, and the screen cuts to black. Then the words appear. 1 removed. Thank you for playing. I threw my phone across the room. I'm not proud of it, but I just started screaming. I called my mom. She hadn't heard from Uncle James all day. Said he didn't come home, I told her he was probably just out with friends, trying not to freak her out. But I knew. He was gone. And I don't even remember checking his name. I swear I didn't. I was just clicking around. But what if I did? What if I accidentally clicked that box? And the worst part, that red button, that remove button, it's still in my dreams. It's still burned into my brain. And when I woke up today, there was a new message on my phone. Ready to play again? I didn't go to work the next day. My shift lead kept texting me like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I just left her on red. I sat in my room with the curtains drawn, laptop off, and phone face down, just staring at my blank TV screen for hours. I felt like if I made a single move, something would see me. Something I didn't understand. Something that had already decided I was part of whatever sick thing this is. That second message, the one that said, "Ready to play again," it didn't come from a number this time. It was a push notification from an app I never downloaded. The icon was this red eye, like a human retina, but zoomed in to the point it looked almost wet. The app's name was just a dot, a literal red period, no description, not even in my app list. I couldn't delete it. I even factory reset my phone twice, and the icon came back. It was like it had rooted into my life. But here's where things start getting really messed up. Later that night, I got a DM on Instagram from a burner account. No posts, no followers, just the profile picture of a crow with blood on its beak. The message said, "You are now part of the archive. Removal is permanent." That's it. I clicked on the profile. No links, no stories, nothing. But when I scrolled to the bottom, something glitched for like half a second. The screen twitched. I managed to screenshot it before it flickered out. I still have the image. It was a pixelated version of my bedroom, my actual room, from above, like a ceiling cam. But there's no camera in my room. I've checked 100 times. I even tore through the vents. The worst part, I was in the screenshot, lying in my bed, but I wasn't sleeping. I was staring right at the camera. Only I don't remember ever looking up. I don't remember the moment that shot was taken. I looked empty, like my eyes weren't there, like whatever had been living in me had left. That image made me nauseous. I stared at it until my nose started bleeding. No joke. I wiped it with my hoodie sleeve and just sat there, mouth open, while this pit in my chest kept growing and growing like something was physically inside me now. Later, I tried to talk to someone, just anyone. So I called up my cousin Lily, the only person in my family who's into dark web and conspiracy stuff like me. I didn't tell her everything, just said, "Hey, you ever hear about this game called Remove One?" There was silence on the line for a few seconds. Then she whispered, "Don't say that name. Not on the phone." That's when I knew I wasn't going crazy. She told me she saw a thread about it on a dead Reddit clone years ago, like one of those sites that got shut down after a federal raid. It was a collection of extracted data from onion links, hosted by a user named SC Orcher, who claimed to have survived the game by hacking the site's backend. His last post, a video of himself crying in a bathtub, holding a Ziploc bag filled with what looked like a severed tongue, and writing on the mirror in blood, "I chose wrong." That's where the thread ended. Lily begged me to not go further, but by then it was already too late. I didn't tell her about the video I saw of Uncle James. I didn't tell her about the eye icon or the screenshot. I just said, "I think I clicked the wrong thing." She just said, Then don't click anything else. Ever. They only need 3. I was like, 3 what? She hung up. I've called her maybe 20 times since then. No response. Her Instagram is deactivated. Her Snap score hasn't moved. The last story she posted was 3 hours before we talked, and it was just a black screen with "It's watching from inside the glass" written in white text. I didn't get it at first, but now I think she meant screens, phones, monitors, windows. The glass isn't outside, it's inside. Here's where everything got twisted beyond anything I was ready for. I checked my emails later that night. I don't even know why. I hadn't been opening anything since this whole mess started, but I saw something new. No subject, no sender, just an attachment. It was a video file, titled, "You already played .move." My hands were shaking when I clicked it. I had my finger on the power button the whole time, ready to kill it if something jumped out at me. The video opened with a live stream looking feed. Black and white, grainy, looked like security footage. I saw a room, a small one, concrete walls, a drain in the floor. There were 3 people inside, hoods over their heads, tied to chairs. One by one, the camera slowly panned across their faces as a masked figure walked into frame. They were wearing a white hoodie with that same red eye symbol stitched across the chest. He didn't speak, just pointed at the camera, and then he held up 3 fingers. Behind him, a television turned on. The footage switched. It was me, live, sitting at my desk, staring into my webcam. Same room, same clothes. Then it cut again, to each person in the room as the masked man walked behind them. One by one, he pulled their hoods off. I didn't recognize the first 2, but the third, I swear to God, it was my cousin Lily. She was gagged, eyes wide, shaking her head violently. Then the screen went black again. New text appeared. "You removed 1. You are marked. 2 remain. Choose before we do." And then the screaming started. I've never heard anything like it. It didn't even sound human. It sounded like someone was being skinned alive inside a metal tank. I slammed the laptop shut, but the audio kept playing from inside the speakers. I had to rip the power cord out and bury the thing under a blanket just to stop it. I sat there breathing heavy, trying to convince myself I didn't just see what I saw, that it wasn't her, that maybe it was edited, maybe I was being messed with. But then I checked my Instagram DMs again. New message, same crow icon burner account. This time, it just said, "She begged us to choose you instead. I haven't left my house since then. I've boarded up the windows, unplugged my TV. I don't even have my phone on anymore except to type this. I'm using a burner Chromebook from Target, and every few minutes, the screen still flickers. Just now, while typing this, my webcam light blinked for 0.2 seconds. I don't even think this thing has a webcam. And then, I heard something, just now, a soft thump, from inside my bedroom closet. I'm not opening it. I'm not. Not after what I saw earlier today on YouTube. One of those autoplay shorts came up after a true crime video. It looked like an animation at first. White hoodie, red eye, standing in a doorway. But the comments weren't talking about animation. They were saying stuff like, "Wait, isn't this from a real video? My cousin saw this guy before he disappeared. Is this connected to Remove One? I've seen that guy at my school, in real life. No one believed me." And the top comment, "Why does this guy look like the background in OP's post on r/NOSLEEP last night?" The person in the background, standing just behind me, in my room. I'm going to check the closet now. If you don't hear from me in part 3, remember this. You never needed to click remove. They already chose you. The closet door creaked open by itself before I could even get near it. It was slow. Too slow. Like when you're watching a horror movie and they draw it out so long, your brain starts filling in the gaps. Except this wasn't a movie. This wasn't fiction. This was real. And it wasn't a door anymore. It was a mirror. I swear on everything I've ever loved, there was no mirror in that closet. Not even the sliding ones with the chrome edges, and definitely not the kind that looked like it belonged in some Gothic cathedral out in the middle of a Romanian graveyard. But there it was. Ornate black metal trim, rusted edges, symbols etched around the corners in what looked like fingernail scratches. And my reflection wasn't mine. It was me. Same hoodie, same scars on my arm, same broken glasses from when I fell skateboarding at 15. But the expression on his face, he was smiling. Wide, too wide, like the skin was being stretched back by wires behind his ears. And his eyes were black, not shadowed, not bloodshot, black. Not like, oh, his pupils are dilated, black. I mean no whites, just voids, like someone had scooped out everything human and filled the sockets with oil. Then he moved. I didn't. I was frozen. My hands were at my sides, fingers trembling. But in the mirror, my doppelganger raised a hand and waved. The second he did, the red eye icon flashed across the mirror like a glitch, like a screen burn, that same one from the app. The second it appeared, I heard a voice, clear as a whisper, but inside my skull. Like it wasn't through ears, it was through bones. It said, 2 remain. You choose, or we choose. Then a second reflection joined him. It was Lily. But not her. She was hollow, skin gray, eyes gone, lips torn like she'd been screaming for years straight. And in her hands, she was holding what looked like a VHS tape wrapped in human hair. Long black strands of hair twisted around the tape, like it grew from the plastic. I turned to run, but my room had changed. The walls weren't mine. They were concrete now. My bed was gone. So were my posters, my LED lights. Everything had become cold, industrial. There was a drain in the center of the floor, and suddenly, I wasn't alone. There was someone in the corner of the room, face hidden in shadow, crouched, fingers twitching, clawed, like they weren't human, like they used to be. I backed up toward the mirror, just by instinct, but it had changed too. It now showed me 3 live feeds, 3 cameras, 3 rooms, and 3 people, all in real time. I recognized 2 instantly. My dad, sitting on the porch, sipping a beer, scrolling through TikTok, completely unaware. My mom, in the kitchen, chopping onions, smiling at something on her phone, probably texting my aunt. The 3rd feed was a baby monitor. I didn't recognize the baby, but I knew the room. I used to sleep in it when I was 5. Same bed frame, same paint chips on the ceiling, same spiderweb of cracked plaster above the window. The baby had my last name written on the wall in vinyl letters. I don't even have a kid. Not unless they're showing me a future I haven't lived yet. And then the voice came again, louder this time, like a choir of whispers, all coming from behind the concrete walls. You removed one. One remains. Make your choice. Then a timer appeared in the reflection. 30:00. It started counting down, and the floor began to vibrate. Every second that ticked down, the walls cracked deeper, and that figure in the corner, the one crouched, started humming. like a lullaby, a broken one. I swear to you, it sounded like Rockabye Baby, but the words were all backwards. And then the screens changed. My dad's feed. A man walks up behind him with a meat cleaver, no mask, just smiling, like he enjoyed it. The camera lingers. You hear footsteps, then a squelch. The screen went black. My mom's feed. Her kitchen lights go out. You hear her breathing, panicked. Something whispers, "He chose you." Then, nothing, just silence, until you hear dragging. The baby monitor feed. A hand enters the crib, long black fingernails. It strokes the baby's head gently before reaching around its throat. 0, 0, 11, 0, 0, 10, 0, 0, 9. I screamed. I started punching the mirror, kicking it. Nothing. Not even a crack. My reflection was laughing. He was laughing at me. I fell to the floor and screamed, "Take me instead." The timer stopped. 0, 0, 0, 1. And then the lights came back on. The mirror vanished. The room was mine again. My bed, my walls, my desk, my cluttered Red Bull cans. All there. But I was alone. No one answered my calls. No one replied to my texts. My parents' phones went straight to voicemail. I biked to my mom's house, and it was boarded up, like abandoned, like years had passed, and I'd been gone. I knocked until my fists were raw. Then I heard it, from inside, a child's voice, whispering, from just beyond the door. "Why didn't you save me? I haven't eaten in 4 days. I can't. Every time I look at my food, it crawls. I'm not hallucinating. I recorded it once. My sandwich literally had a mouth, opened wide, like it was going to bite me instead. I unplugged everything, but I still hear notifications, still see that red eye flash in the corners of my vision. And tonight, I checked under my bed, for the first time since this all started, and I swear to God, I saw myself, curled up, staring back at me, not blinking, just waiting. I don't know what's real anymore, but I found something, buried in the closet wall behind where the mirror was, a box. Inside were 3 VHS tapes, each labeled with a name, Lily, James, me. But mine is different. It's labeled in progress, and scrawled on the bottom in something I pray was ink. They don't want your death. They want your story, your fear, forever. I think this is a ritual, a digital one, a psychological sacrifice. Like they feed off us, our choices, our dread. I don't know what I've unleashed, but I'm starting to think there's no way out, only deeper. If you're still reading, I need to be clear about something before I continue. This isn't a story, it's a warning. There is no escape. There is no waking up. The game is a system, and you've already entered it by knowing its name. They don't feed on death. They feed on fear preserved in memory. And these tapes, they are memories that shouldn't exist. I stared at the 3 VHS tapes in the box for what felt like hours. Lily, red ink. The tape smelled like rotting flowers. I'm not exaggerating. There was a stench that clung to my skin. James, just a black marker. But the tape felt wet, even though it was dry. And then there was mine. Me, labeled in progress, in jagged handwriting that looked burned into the plastic. Each tape had something carved on the side. Little letters, symbols that didn't mean anything to me until I noticed one of them moved. Like slid. I picked up mine and tilted it under the lamp. One of the carved grooves looked shallow, like a switch, so I pushed it. It clicked, and then my laptop, disconnected, off, battery dead for days, turned on by itself. The screen was pure black. Then white text appeared. Play your tape, but know this, Once watched, it cannot be unwatched. Your memory becomes their recording. They can now enter from within. There was no USB, no connection, just a single red dot in the center of the screen, like a camera light, watching me, waiting. So I did the only thing that made sense to my broken, paranoid mind. I plugged in the ancient, dusty VCR I'd kept from my childhood. I don't know why I still had it. I haven't used it in over 15 years, but it was in the attic, wrapped in plastic, like something had wanted me to find it. I put my tape in. The static hit me like a physical force. It sounded like screaming submerged in oil, like if someone recorded a funeral underwater. Then the tape started. No title card, no music, just my birth. There I was, a home video. My mom holding me in her arms at the hospital, my dad crying, but something was wrong. The nurses were blurry. Their faces looked distorted, like someone had melted their heads in a microwave. One of them turned toward the camera and whispered something I'll never forget. "We saw him mark you." In the womb, I dropped the remote. Then it cut. Suddenly, I was watching myself at 5 years old in the room from the baby monitor feed. Only now, there was a second me. Same haircut, same pajamas, but this version wasn't alive. He stood in the corner, perfectly still, not blinking, watching me sleep, watching himself sleep. The camera zoomed in on his face, slowly, painfully slow, and as it got closer, his skin began to peel, not like a wound, like someone was unzipping him from the forehead down. Underneath was nothing, black muscle, no skull, just exposed flesh, vibrating like a heartbeat, and the teeth. There were so many teeth. And then he spoke. No lips, just teeth moving against each other like bones chattering in Morse code. Every moment of fear you've ever felt was recorded. We are the archivists. We do not forget. You are always watching. Then the screen flashed red, and I was suddenly watching a compilation, like a highlight reel of my own life, but only the worst parts. My dog dying when I was 10, getting jumped outside of school in 8th grade while kids filmed it. My grandma's body at the funeral, eyes half open. The first time I tried to end everything at 17 in a hotel bathtub in Chicago during a family trip. Every breakdown, every scream, every fear I'd buried, and at the end of it, the screen cut to black. Then one line appeared. You watched. Now you are seen. Then it cut to a live feed of me, watching the TV, but from behind. The camera was right behind my shoulder, and the screen whispered, "They are in your shadow now." I turned. Instantly. Nothing there, but I felt it, like a breath on the back of my neck. Then, the tape ejected itself, and I swear to you, it was hot, like it had just come from the center of the earth. When I touched it, I heard whispers in my head and the sound of rattling chains. And then, something snapped, not in the room, in me. From that moment on, I started seeing them, not with my eyes, with the corners of rooms, reflections, window panes, the glossy plastic of a soda bottle. They watch me now. In reflections I can't control. They've bound themselves to the footage. That's why they need you to watch. Every viewer becomes a doorway. That night, I slept maybe 2 hours. When I woke up, I had scratches on my chest. Not normal ones. These were symbols, same as the ones etched into the VHS. I googled them, got nothing for hours. Then I checked a dark web archive site I still had access to from years back. Found a thread, old, dated 2012. Those who are marked become broadcasters. The archivists follow through reflections. They do not feed on blood. They feed on recorded fear. Do not watch your own tape. It makes them permanent. The last user to comment had their account deleted, but their final message remains. My mirror hasn't reflected my face in 3 days. It's showing someone else's nightmares. But the worst came the next day. When the doorbell rang, it was a delivery. A mirror, 6 feet tall, antique, no note, no shipping label. I left it outside, but it was inside again the next morning, standing at the foot of my bed. Now, every night at 3:33 a.m., it plays something, not like a TV, but images appear, moving, twitching, like film that's melting, and I see myself doing things I've never done, cutting into people I don't know, staring into webcams with no eyes, smiling while someone begs me to stop. And every time I blink, the reflection moves closer. I haven't watched Lily's or James's tapes yet. I'm scared they'll become mine too, if I do. But I can hear them at night. The tapes whisper. The box they came in bleeds. And the mirror, it's growing warmer, like something's inside, trying to come through. This is it. The end of the footage. The end of what I remember being me. I don't know how long I've been in this house anymore. I don't even know if it is a house now. The windows show places I've never been. The walls breathe if I listen close enough. Sometimes they whisper in my mother's voice. Sometimes they just bleed. Thick, black, slow. But this all ends with the final tape. And it wasn't me who played it. It was the mirror. I woke up to the sound of tape spinning. That static noise, like bones grinding underwater. You never forget it once you've heard it. And when I opened my eyes, I wasn't in my room. I was in a corridor. Dark, industrial. No doors, just walls soaked in moisture and some dark red stain dripping from cracks. There were fluorescent lights overhead, but they didn't light the floor. Just the top of the walls, like something wanted me to see what was above me, not around. I couldn't move. My legs weren't mine anymore. They moved on their own, dragging me toward a door at the very end. The tape was playing itself, and I was inside it. There were screams, familiar ones, Lily, James, and a third voice that shook me to the center of my bones. Me, not the me typing this, the other me, the one from the mirror, the one who never blinked, the one who always smiled. He was waiting. When I entered the room, it looked like an abandoned TV studio. Old cameras mounted on tripods, a single stool in the middle. Above it, a spotlight that flickered like it was trying to burn out, but couldn't. The cameras all pointed at the stool, and sitting on it was my body, skinless, flayed open like a display at a medical museum, but still breathing, still twitching, eyelids gone, mouth sewn shut with barbed wire. The eyes rolled back and forth like it was trying to look at everything at once. There was a TV mounted on the wall behind it. It turned on and showed my live stream. Thousands of people watching, names scrolling like a Twitch chat from hell. Remove him. Burn it all. The next host is ready. Let him finish the tape. Him in his house. I've seen this too. I chose my dad. He never even screamed. I fell to my knees. I screamed, but no sound came out. And the reflection appeared again. On every screen, hundreds of versions of me, all staring, all smiling, all of them with someone else's face under their skin. Then a voice came over the speakers, not like before. This wasn't a whisper. This wasn't cryptic. This was a command. Finish the recording, or we take the child. And the screen changed again. The baby, the one from the earlier feed. It was crying now. Only this time, It had my eyes, my exact deadpan stare. It was me, my future, or my past, or maybe both. And standing behind the crib was me, but not me, the reflection, in full, in the white hoodie, red eye stitched across the chest, hands dripping with something dark and slow and warm. He reached into the crib and whispered something I'll never repeat, but I'll describe what happened next. The baby stopped crying, not like it calmed down, like something had removed its sound, like its soul was yanked out the mouth, leaving only meat behind. The reflection turned back toward me and walked through the screen. Not an animation, not a trick. The pixels split, glitched, shivered, and he stepped through the glass, right into the room. I ran, but the corridor didn't go anywhere. It kept turning, bending, folding in on itself like a video looping wrong. I ended up back in the room, and now the store was empty, but the cameras were on, still filming, and the mirror was behind me. I turned and saw you, watching, reading, recording. So now I have to tell you something. The game, it never cared about the first choice. Lily, James, whoever. That's bait. The real game is this. How many can you reach? That's what they want. Fear shared is fear multiplied. Fear remembered is eternal. And they are archivists. They collect what's left after your last scream. They are not demons. They are not ghosts. They are what happens when the internet becomes self-aware and wants more than your data. It wants your fear in high definition. It wants your reflection to become its host. And that final tape, it wasn't my ending. It was your beginning. So here's what you'll do. You'll click the next thing. You'll check your webcam light. You'll see a file you didn't download, a folder named Removed. Inside, a video titled Choose, and it'll ask you, who do you love the most? Would they scream if we took you? Would they even know it wasn't you anymore? You can delete it. You can run. You can burn everything. But it doesn't matter, because it's not inside your devices anymore. It's inside the reflection. Every time you see yourself blink, that second blink isn't you. It's me. And we're still recording. Close your laptop. Cover your mirror. But don't forget the rule. Once the game is seen, the game is fed. And it never, ever stops watching.